A Love Rewritten, Isabel had always been a rational woman. A successful lawyer in a prestigious Madrid firm, her life was full of meticulous plans and calculated decisions. Love was not that was the priority. His work was everything. However, all that changed when he met Daniel, a writer whose talent was as captivating as his presence. Everything began at a literary party, one of those sophisticated meetings where writers, editors, and journalists met to talk about books and business. Isabel didn't want to be there. She preferred to be working on her legal cases. But her best friend, Marta, had convinced her to attend to disconnect a little. It was there that she saw Daniel for the first time. He was standing near a wine table, talking with some friends, but what really caught Isabel's attention were his eyes, a mixture of melancholy and mystery that irremediably attracted her. Daniel, with his 3-day beard and his elegant but relaxed suit-à-deux, he had a magnetic presence. The conversation he was having with others stopped when he saw her. He smiled with that confidence that seemed so natural to him. "Are you a lawyer?" he asked her as he approached. Carse, his tone curious but kind. Isabel, surprised, nodded. "How did he know?" "Your body language says it all," said Daniel, as he took a sip of wine. "Although you could also be the persona que más necesita unas vacaciones." Isabel smiled, not knowing whether she was flattered or disconcerted by his so precise observation. But something about him disarmed her. Throughout the night, Isabel and Daniel, they talked about books, about their work, but what really united them was the mystery behind their words. Daniel spoke of his novels, of the characters he created, but his eyes always. They seemed to be looking for something, as if they were fighting with inner demons. Isabel, for her part, realized that he spoke with a raw sincerity, something she did not expect to find in a writer. Successful 10. As the days went by, Isabel began to go out with Daniel, increasingly captivated by his intelligence and depth. But doubts also began to arise. Daniel had secrets. Isabel was beginning to suspect that her life was not as perfect as it seemed. Whenever she asked him about his past, Daniel would clam up, change the subject, or simply walk away. One day, after 1 month into dating, Isabel found something that left her breathless. While browsing Daniel's phone, looking for a restaurant number, she found an old message. It was from a woman calling Ada Laura, with words full of anguish. "Daniel, why are you doing this to me? I know what you did, and what you are still doing. You have to decide, once and for all, either your family or me." The message left her frozen. "Ada, what did you mean by your family or me?" She decided to confront him, but she also knew that that conversation could change everything. That night, when Daniel took her to his apartment for dinner, Isabi couldn't contain himself. While they were having dinner, Isabel left her phone on the table and stared at it. "Daniel, who is Laura?" she asked, her voice full of a mixture of anxiety and determination. Daniel's eye paled. For a second, the atmosphere tightened, and Isabel felt the air become heavy. "It's not what it seems, Isabel. It's something from the past. Something I haven't been able to overcome," said Daniel. But his voice trembled slightly, something Isabel had never noticed before. "Why did you hide this from me?" Isabel asked, her tone firmer. "I've been discovering fragments of your life that I don't understand. What happened to her? And why did you hide it from me?" Daniel looked deeply into her eyes, with the internal struggle written on his face. Finally, he sighed, letting his guard down. "Laura is my ex-wife, Sa, and the reason why I married her was because of a lie I believed. We were together when I was still trapped in a marriage that didn't allow me to be happy. But the worst thing was that, in the end, I discovered that our relationship was a facade for a much bigger lie. My father, who was a very powerful man, wanted me to marry Laura because her family had influence. It was to do an arrangement. I was so blinded by expectations that I never saw the truth until it was too late." Isabel remained silent, assimilating the gravity of what she had just heard. Had Daniel I caught in such a big lie, a lie that involved her family? The situation was much more complicated than she had imagined. Then, why now? Why is she hiding it from me? "Did you do all this if you wanted me?" Isabel asked, pain filling her words. Daniel took her hand, squeezing it gently, but fear was evident in his eyes. "Because, Isabel, I never wanted to start to this chaos. My life is full of lies, broken promises, and betrayals. but since I met you, I felt that I could have a chance to be happy. However, I knew that if I told you the truth, I would lose you, and I didn't want to lose you. Silence filled the room, but Isabel knew that Daniel's words were sincere. Despite the pain, she felt that there was truth in what he said, a truth that had the power to heal or destroy. Isabel stood up and walked to the window. She looked at the city lights, as if the brilliance of the night could offer her some answer. Necessarily, take your time, Daniel. I don't know if I can forgive you, but I also know that I don't want to make a hasty decision. This is something bigger than us, she said, without looking at him. Daniel watched her in silence, knowing that his life now depended on that decision. He knew that, although the love he felt for her was real, the shadows of his past could destroy any possibility of a future. Weeks passed, and in which Isabel moved away from Daniel to reflect. Finally, after much introspection, she decided to confront her own fear and the wound to her trust. She realized that her love for him was real, but also understood that he could not live in the shadow of Daniel's past decisions. When they met again, Isabel said to him, I have forgiven you, Daniel, but we need to start again. Evo, everything that happened before, all the lies, must be left behind. I don't promise it will be easy, but if you are willing to do the same, we can try. Daniel, with tears in his eyes, as in show, knowing that, in the end, his love for Isabel was stronger than any lie. The end.